Welcome to the 15-day crash course. Develop, launch, and sell your next big idea. That was a mouthful. I gotta figure out a shorter title for this. But that is what we are up to. Today is day 2 of 15 in this challenge. If you were here for the preview day, it is technically day 3. But we did a preview day 2 days ago. Today is day 2 of the actual live launch challenge. And we are going through all you need to know in order to develop either your first, whether it's your first product or your 50th product you've ever developed. We want to say welcome to all those who are joining us here. If you are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or TikTok. For those of you who are on TikTok and have the peculiar view, please forgive. We tried to get you as centered as we possibly could, but you are still a little bit off-centered in comparison to our main camera because we're running you from our phone. Those of you who will join us later on Instagram, we are unfortunately not live today on Instagram, but we will be live in the future on Instagram. We had to shut down the Instagram live because the phone that usually sits just off screen right here to run the Instagram live is kaput. So we had to make a call on where we would shut it down. Since we were already going to be on Facebook, we decided 2 meta platforms wasn't necessary. So we are live on TikTok. If you joined us yesterday was all about setting ourselves up for success. And what do I mean by that? It was all about setting the goals for this time. You were challenged to set 2 to 3 SMART goals. And if you got your follow-up document from livefearlessmedia.com that gives you all of the information, resources, and prompts that we talk about in this training, you saw that we gave a little bit of extra information that wasn't necessarily in the training. So if you haven't gotten to go to the website yet and download your document, make sure you go and visit us. It's super simple. All you gotta do is go to livefearlessmedia.com. There will be a pop-up within seconds of you showing up. I think it's 3 to 5 seconds, somewhere in there, that shows up. All you got to do is put in your first name and your email address and click send. We will send you an email with a link that will auto update every single day of this challenge. And when we complete this challenge, that link will be turned into an ebook for you to keep. Now, these 15 days will be coming live here on multiple social media platforms and sharing a significant amount of information. But in order to save on your time and mind, the reality is we cannot share everything in a day. If you have any questions, make sure to either DM us. You can DM us on any of my channels. It's Live Fearless CEO on any channel. Or if you want to send us an email at hello@livefearlessmedia.com, and we will send you a reply for any questions you might have along the way. So what are we doing today? Yesterday was all about setting intention and goals. Today, the rubber meets the road. We start actually driving this car down the road of finding what you're actually going to develop. Now, the first couple of days here, we're not actually developing your product or service. We're getting all the background information necessary for one of 2 things. If you are planning to utilize AI, we are providing AI prompts throughout this challenge for things like ChatGPT and OpenAI. But sorry, guys, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I'm getting messages galore and getting distracted. The wonders of entrepreneur brain, we get distracted by the littlest of things. Let's get back to the point. We will be providing prompts for ChatGPT, OpenAI, Copy AI, and several other AI softwares. So depending on what you like to use, you can use these prompts in pretty much every AI out there. However, some of you may feel that you want to do this from scratch without the AIs. Understandable. Whether you're planning to use AI or not, we will be providing the way through. And the first thing you need to know in order to do this is, who are you talking to? Now, when we develop products or services, we usually come from two avenues. If you have a company already, you have some background as to who you talk to, right? Who your company serves, who the ideal client or customer is. But with every single product or service you ever develop, you're going to be narrowing that down to a very specific person or set of people. The same thing happens even if you don't have a company. But here's the way we do this. We look at our ideal audience. If you are brand new to social media, you don't have a following, you don't have a list built for email marketing, you don't traditionally come live or do any of those traditional things that people are already in business do not worry. We're going to develop these things on the dream spectrum. So what do you want? That's going to be the thing you need to answer. You have to say, who's the person that I know I'm speaking to? Who's the person I'm meant to speak to? If you know that answer, then you have your starting point. All you have to know is who. And if you are in a place where you're like, I don't really know who my dream audience is, then base it off of you. That's where I started. I had no idea who I was talking to or how to talk to them or what even to say. And in that moment, I thought, what do I need to hear? Because I didn't start my first company of 4 from a place of knowing this or even knowing this was what I was going to do. No, absolutely not. I started this first company and the first product line that I did, well, service line, I should say, because it wasn't an actual product, from the place of what did I need? Who could I serve that looked like me? And what are the problems that I personally am facing that I can go out and find the solutions to, and then go out and help others? Your own story, your own influence is probably one of the biggest things you have as an entrepreneur. So if you are at the very beginning of this journey and you don't know where to start with your own story. Start with your own problems. Because if you can fix your own problems, you can fix that problem for anybody else. Do not be worried about what this looks like in the long term. Stick to what you know and use that as your central part, as your central position, your central audience that you want to speak to, that you want to influence, that you want to sell to. And yes, for those of you who don't like marketing and sales, you have to be willing to sell to that audience and be selling to that audience. Why? Because all of this is for naught if you won't sell. If you won't market yourself, if you won't talk for yourself, you don't know how to talk to that audience, that's a different story. But if you are not willing to, this is not the place for you. This entire process, this 15 days, is not for you. Because if you want to build a company and you don't already have people to sell for you, you are going to have to sell for yourself. So you need to be willing and ready and available to do that. So before we get into all the details of marketing and sales and building a product and how we do that, whether we're doing that just through pen and paper or AI, let's talk about who we're going to be targeting, who that audience actually is, and how we find that audience. The biggest thing before we launch any product or service, the first step we take is knowing if there's a need for it and who that need is addressed to. We have to identify the gaps, not only in the marketplace, but in our everyday interactions. This is part of the reason why I said start with your problems first. Most likely, if you have a problem, 10 other people do, 100 other people do, 1,000 other people do. And by the way, if your problem is something somebody's already solving, it doesn't mean you can't solve it too. you can certainly solve that problem, even if there are 100 other people doing it, because I guarantee you there are fewer people doing it than you think. Let's take social media as an example. One of the things I hear all the time from people who want to start into social media is it's overcrowded, that there's no gap in the marketplace for them. And I can tell you without fear of error, if you are planning to do an educational product, if you are planning to do social media marketing, if you are planning to do anything in the social selling realm, there is more than enough space. Because if you look at the numbers, depending on the platform, only 4 to 5% of accounts on any platform are actually selling. Doesn't matter if it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I don't care. Only 4 to 5% of accounts are actually businesses. So I guarantee you there is space for you in the market space. Do not let your feed control your fear. We often get fed so much content that is based on the things we like, right? So if you're interested in doing business, most likely you are having a crud load of content that's all about business, right? If you're having all that content all the time talking to you about business, you're probably sitting there going, well, there's a lot of businesses. There's no space for me. But if you look at the numbers, if you do the research about what this market space actually looks like, I can guarantee you there will be space for you. That's the reason why market research, audience research, competitor analysis are all so essential before you ever get to building the product or service. And actually, it's easier to do this first before you get to the product or service, because when you build the product or service, you can then tailor make it to answer that audience's need, right? You can fix the problem, answer the need, have the conversation. It's a lot easier than starting with the product and then trying to find the audience. Because if you do it the other way, where you try to find the audience afterwards, I can guarantee you it's going to drive you nuts. So, where do we start? How do we do market research? What are the places we can look for information? How do we do data analysis, etc.? Because you might be saying, okay, I love this idea, I want to do this, I want to know who I speak to, how do I speak to them, how do these conversations go? All important questions to answer. Let's get to it. Let's talk about this. So let's talk about let's jump into the research tools, because this is what you really came here for. Let's be very honest. We came here to talk about research tools. There are 1,000,001 ways to do research online. There's 1,000,001 ways to find your audience. Here are the best ways I can think of to find information on the internet about your audience. Google, social media. Let me tell you, there is no better place to find information about an audience and what an audience is talking about other than the places that they actually hang out and talk. Now, I know it's a pain in the butt, because it means you've got to go onto a bunch of your competitors' social media pages and read through them and sign up for their newsletters and do all these things. But trust me, when you want to answer questions and you want to fill gaps, you need to know what those gaps are and what those questions are. They will be asking the questions on your competitor's social media feed. Also, great place to find out information about the questions people ask or the complaints people have: reviews. Reviews are fantastic. If you are doing service reviews, that's Google. If you are looking for product reviews, meaning physical products, you're planning to do physical products, then you need to go to Amazon. I don't care if you love or hate Amazon. It seems to be a love-hate relationship for most people. If you love Amazon or hate it, I don't care. dig in, find the products that you are similar to yours. Now, if you have a one-of-a-kind product that's never been used before, find the things that are in your market share, meaning something that is similar. It may not be exactly the same. If you are developing something that is already out there before, look at the things that are literally out there before and start going through the reviews. The top sold item, what are the reviews? Look mostly at both the positive and the negatives. What are the things they loved about it? What are the things they hated about it? Why did somebody return it? Check out the return rates so you can figure out, well, what's the likelihood of return for me? Because let's be honest, all of us get returns. All of us have money backs. It doesn't matter whether you have a digital product or a physical one, a digital service or a physical service. It does not matter. You will have people request money back. And you will have to decide how you deal with that. But this can kind of set your bar and expectation of how often something is actually returned. Another great way to do this, Google reviews. I said this with services. Services have tons of Google reviews. I'm not a big fan of places like the Better Business Bureau and some of the other website-based review systems like Reddit, or not Reddit. Oh gosh, what's the one? Okay, I'm blanking, but I'll put it in the document. There are a couple out there. I'll put it in the review document. There are ones I like better than others, but for sure, Google. Look at Google reviews. With services, you will see positives and negatives. And that is, you want to be looking beyond your direct competitor's website. Because if you're just looking there, all their reviews are positive. And they'll have all the logos of all the shining stars of all the things that they worked with. Don't go off that. Look at both the positives and the negatives, because one, it will allow you to know what you need to do better. But two, it also prepares you, because this is the same audience you're trying to attract. This is the same audience that's probably going to have certain perspectives on the things you do and say that are influenced by your competitor. And so knowing what they are saying to your competitors and about your competitors allows you to prepare yourself for what they will or won't say about you. So now that we've been talking about competitors and learning about your audience from your competitors, let's talk about how you can actually leverage your competitors' entire infrastructure for your benefit. There are a ton of softwares out there where you can literally learn about entire backends of websites, how they work, what type of marketing they're doing, all the different systems and services that they're utilizing to make their products happen. This is the reason why you want to know who your competitors are on two levels. Now, when I talk about knowing your competitors on two levels, I'm talking about one level being your direct competitor. Now, your direct competitor is not somebody who is $1 million ahead of you in revenue. These are the businesses that are about the same size as you, doing similar services to you. You want to find those people and those organizations that look like you on paper. So if I were to take one of my companies, Live Fearless Media. Live Fearless Media is an online media agency. And by the way, for those of you who haven't figured out, yes, all my companies are called Live Fearless in some capacity. Live Fearless Media, Live Fearless Teams, Live Fearless Production, Live Fearless Consulting. And it's basically LFM, LFP, LFT, and LFC. Yes, I intentionally did that. I chose Live Fearless as a name 7 years ago as a reminder to myself to get up every day and keep trying. That's how I chose my name. that was intentional. But back to what we were talking about. Let's talk about how you can find out what your competitors are up to so you can leverage it in this process of making your business, your first product, whatever you're planning to do over the next 15 days. There's a system called Metricool. Metricool is a marketing system that allows you to do everything from social media planning to social media analytics to competitor analysis on social media platforms. That's the tool I want you to recognize and utilize. Why do we want to do that? This is going to start giving you data and analysis of what is working in your competitors' marketing. So when we look at our direct competitors, we're looking at what type of marketing is getting the greatest engagement. We also want to look specifically at the metrics that each of these platforms likes to utilize. So for instance, if I'm talking Instagram loves shares, right? So I am looking for the most shared content on Instagram. When I'm looking at TikTok, I'm looking at different engagement numbers and I'm looking for the most of those engagement numbers, right? So we are looking across the board. So we're looking at their communication style, what's working, what's not. So you can take that and adopt and adapt. I'm not talking about copying. I am never talking about copying. Don't copy paste anybody else's work into your own and think it's going to work. In fact, it probably will backfire on you for multitudes of reasons. But I am saying go in, find the content that you know will work for you and make your own variation of it. Use your own storyline, your own branding, your own products and services to utilize that type of content. And sorry if you all are hearing a little snoring in the background. My dog is seemingly fallen asleep on the couch right over here. And she is snoozing like a log. Another type of software that we use a lot is called Wappalyzer. Yes, you did hear that right. Wappalyzer, Wappalyzer. Sorry, I have to look over here at my notes because it's so this is an app that can be added to your Google Chrome. If you have Google Chrome, this is a really helpful tool. You add it to Google Chrome and you visit your competitor's website. And it allows you to see the tools and systems specifically that they're using to achieve their sales. So you can see their back end of their website, how it's built, what it's built on, what different types of software they utilize. Why is this important? Well, you're going to learn more of why this is important later in this process because we are going to talk systems. That's a big part of this. One, for automation's sake, so it makes things faster, easier. But two, also systems are important because that influences really how you can sell and what that process looks like and how fast you can do that process and how easy it actually will be or won't be for you. This really does allow you, Wappalyzer allows you to dig into knowing your competitors and knowing their technologies. You won't see everything, admittedly. There will be times where it just will leave a blank or will guess, but it will give you a general place to go. And especially for those of you just starting out in this process who've never built a company before or never built a product or service before, this will allow you to kind of have a general idea of what softwares may work for you. Now, we are going to, when we get to the systems section, which is in the several days from now, we are going to make suggestions, one, of systems for you to utilize for free, and two, systems that you can utilize on a payment plan. Because let's be honest, you can start a business for free. It is possible to do. I know this because I started my first company for free. But keeping it for free long-term may not be a possibility because you grow to a certain point and you have to allow your systems to grow with it. So we are going to suggest some of the paid services, especially for those of you out there who are a little bit further along in the journey, who need resources that are a little more robust. So you'll get both sides of this, but this will give you a baseline to say, okay, I know the type of service I'm trying to build requires ABC, XYZ because I saw it in my competitors. And so when we go to the service day and we're going through all the different services, this allows you two pieces of information. One, which services do I actually need to consider, whether the free version or the paid? And two, well, really three things. Two, which ones can I leave out? Which things do I not need to accomplish things? Because remember, this training is open to multiple industries. So there are going to be things we recommend that may not be essential to your industry. And in those cases, leave it out. Ignore it. You don't need it. Don't pay for it. Just ignore it. The third thing is there are going to be things we miss. Because this is a multi-industry training, I'm not going to be able to hit every single software and system that you can utilize in this process. I'm not going to be able to hit every single high and low that is a part of business building, because we're talking to many groups of people doing many different types of things, building multiple different types of systems and services. So if that is the case, you then know, okay, I have this third thing, the missing thing, the thing that we haven't talked about in this live that I need to go look for. And you can do that in several ways. You can do it through Google. You can look through the actual options that you saw in the research from Wappalyzer. Or on top of that, if you are looking for an alternate that maybe you can't find, you can email us at hello@livefearlessmedia.com, or you can visit any of my social media pages, which are all under the handle Live Fearless CEO. Leave a comment and we will get back to you with our suggestions if we have one. If we don't have one, or we don't know because it's an industry that we don't have any background in, which let me tell you, there are very few industries I have no background in, but there are some. If it's an industry I just don't have any background in, I will let you know, and then I will try to find a resource where you can find out for that particular industry. So this is a really good way to find that baseline. So when we get to the systems and services day, you are not wasting your time researching a bunch of stuff that you don't need. I will say I've had many a time I've wasted much time researching things I did not need. This helps just understand what actual systems you will need. SimilarWeb. This is another service that is out there. They have a free version. The pay version works better. Gonna be very honest. This is the case for most things. But SimilarWeb allows you to analyze your competitors' web traffic. So with that, you're going to be saying how they acquire their web traffic. Where does it come from? Is it from social media platforms? Is it from ad space? Is it from SEO? How do they get their audience? Then on top of that, you're going to get the insights as to how those particular platforms acquired it. So if it's advertising, you're going to know kind of this, not everything about the structure, but you'll know a lot. You'll get to know about the keywords that they're competing in, the additional information that helps them grow their website. This is all of the audience-based growth information, right? So if you're going to SimilarWeb, whether it's the free version or the paid version, this allows you to kind of have this inside look into how an audience is acquired. And so when you do that, you'll be better ready when we get to your marketing day and specifically look at acquiring audiences through paid marketing, not just free marketing. What do I need to utilize during those days? Again, this is kind of setting the standard for you, yourself, and your experiences, because I can talk about 15 industries at once, right? And if your particular industry or your particular service doesn't fit within the every aspect of what I'm talking about, this allows you to have a baseline to compare it to. And that will then allow you to have a much broader view of what your audience looks like, a more specific view of that audience. And then with that, you're able to then do kind of the comparatives of what our suggestions are of building that marketing platform in comparison to what your competitors look like. This is also a really interesting tool, SimilarWeb, to use with those who are not just your direct competitors, but your aspirational competitors as well. We've talked about this a few times in this training series. The aspirational competitors are those people that you want to be your competitors. They may not be on your level right now because either you're just starting or you're building up to that level. But when you're talking about the multi-million, the 7, the 8, the 9-figure business that you want to compete against, looking at how they acquire their audiences, because their need to acquire is much higher, right, to support that kind of revenue. And so how they acquire those audiences, how they utilize those audiences, even down to some of the payment information, like how much they're paying into ads, how much they're paying into their cost per individual acquisition, all of that is available on SimilarWeb. It's a hugely useful tool, especially when it comes down to the marketing aspects of a business. Last thing we're going to talk about are some of these free places that we can go to for information that will help with your audience and your comparatives. And that is, one, the Google People Also Ask. This is probably the easiest way to get information about your audience and what people want to know. Google your product. Google a major theme associated with your product. Google the problem that your product solves. And you will get a list of questions. And all you've got to do is click one and you'll expand it so you get even more questions. And I would heavily suggest, because we're going to probably go back to this several times, as people also ask, we use this with social media, we use this with marketing, we use this with product building. Copy those questions into a document or a Excel file or some place where you can keep those questions organized, because you're going to want to know them. It's a really great way to know the latest and greatest questions, and it's all based on the Google algorithm of who is asking this, right? And the most popular questions. The other big thing is Creator Search Insights, which Creator Search Insights is a TikTok-based system. So if you are not on TikTok, I would highly suggest at least getting an account. If you are on TikTok, this is a great tool for business building, not just for content building. Sorry, TikTok. They decided to go around my do not disturb. They did a double dial. I love double dials. So in these cases, what you're going to do is, even if you're not doing TikTok content, which you should be doing at some level, it doesn't have to be your main platform, but you need to be doing it at some level. I would heavily suggest using Creator Search Insights. All you got to do is go to the search bar, put in Creator Search Insights. In that bar, if you then search, the first thing that comes up, click that, and then you just automatically fill in something about your topic, whether that's a question associated with it, a keyword associated with it, whatever. Search that, item, and then come back and go through the results. That is the things that, one, where the gaps are. So that'll give you some information about gaps in your marketplace, things that people aren't talking about that maybe they need to be talking about. Two, it'll also let you know what people are searching for. These are the heavily searched items that maybe don't have many answers. So this lets you know the gaps in the marketplace. This lets you know the gaps in the content space, which is a big thing these days. And it also allows you to know what people are interested in because it has the number of searches and also the most likely searches in recent, I think it's 30 days back. They'll tell you the percentage of people that are, the percentage increase of the number of people that are searching for this term or item. Based on that, it's a really great way to find out what people are thinking. Last thing is the Pinterest Trends tool. I know a lot of people have kind of poo-pooed Pinterest, but two things. One, if you are a product-based business or a service-based business that produces a product, meaning say like you're a kitchen business or an events business or something like that, you need to be on Pinterest. And every business should at least have a business platform. You don't have to make it your main social media thing, but you need to at least have a platform so you can access this tool. And that is the Pinterest Trends tool. And let me tell you, it is super, super helpful when it comes to finding the latest and greatest information for free. Guys, Pinterest Professional is free. And you will find out what are trending items, what are trending terms, what are trending sales, because they actually give you that information unlike some of the other platforms out there. And what are the things that people are most engaging with online? Pinterest actually is a search engine. That's what most people miss. Unlike other social media platforms where they're truly social media with search kind of mixed in, Pinterest was made as a search engine. So an image-based search engine. So it's a great place to know what people are searching for, what they're engaging with, and whether or not they'll engage with your content. Now, will it give you every answer you need? Absolutely not. But this is the reason why Pinterest and Google are probably two of the best places to get free analytics to understand where your audience is, what they're buying, what they're engaging with. And they're absolutely free. Like some of these other tools we'll bring up throughout the 15 days, you can start with the free version. Almost everything has a free version, and then you can move to pay as you need it. But these two will always be free, and they provide a significant amount of value. Whether you like Pinterest or you don't, whether you like Google or you don't, if you are a business, you at least need to utilize them. They don't have to be your main thing, your biggest thing, but you have to use them. When we take all the data from all these locations, then you get to combine this information into different pieces of this process. Today was really about the tools and resources that you yourself can access on a day-to-day basis to make this process and project happen. If you've missed any of today's live, do not worry. This information is all available at livefearlessmedia.com. It also, replays will be available on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So please do not worry. All the content will be available throughout this challenge. We will not take it down, and we are going to keep this challenge up until the 7th of November, I believe. Yes, 7 days, 1 week. after the close of this. And so the 7th of November, all of this content will come down, but you will have 22 days in total to complete these 15 days of the challenge. So if you missed anything, if you want to watch the replays, head over to YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. They'll all be available there. And if you are looking for any of our content for the the workbook content, meaning all of the information about the resources we talk about here, any of the AI prompts that are brought up throughout these 15 days, or any of the other information that we share with you all, that will all be available at livefearlessmedia.com. It's just a pop-up that shows up on our website. Fill out the form. It'll get sent directly to your inbox and updated daily. Now, last but not least, if you have any questions at all, make sure to send them to us at hello@livefearlessmedia.com, or you can send me a DM on any of my platforms. All my handles are Live Fearless CEO. Last but not least, let's talk about action steps and what things look like for tomorrow. So I really want to encourage you to explore these platforms. There is a lot of information that is required in building any product, service, or business. And if you do not already have this information, to start gathering it is a really great way to get inspiration for what this product will look like. Maybe you already know what it looks like. If you are in a place where you don't know what these products look like yet and you really still want to build something, do not worry. We are not going to leave you hanging. In the next couple of days, we are going to give you some ideas on how to brainstorm the product and or go to AI and generate the product through AI. So please do not worry if you are one of those people who is like, I really want to build a business, or I really want to build a side project that side hustle that I can sell. You will have the opportunity to do this. We are not going to leave you hanging. This is not a training that was built for only people who have a background in business. You will eventually get there. We just have to get you to that day. So be patient with us. This is about building the core foundation of what this looks like. So all the information you need in order to build this product or service is what we're gathering right now. This is going to set you up for success for all the days to come, because information from these services will be going into the day when we talk about marketing. It will go into the day when we talk about social media. It will go into the day when we talk about systems and services that will run all of this thing. It will go into the day that we talk about the launch, which is like our second to last day. It will go into the day when we talk about data and feedback. Sorry, guys, on TikTok. So we'll be collecting this information. I would really heavily suggest going and diving in and taking a look at what is available to you. And if you need any of these references, all these links will be available in the workbook document, livefearlessmedia.com. It's a pop-up, fill out the form. So tomorrow, we will be back here at 1:30 PST. That's 4:30 Eastern time. And we're going to be diving into turning these ideal customers into your personas, as well as figuring out all the information about what are we actually building. So it's really going to hit the road tomorrow and take off. So I hope to see you there, 1:30 p.m.